Hello and welcome to this AutoCAD tutorial video for AutoCAD 2017. In this video we're going to be considering annotations. Now note please that this is not annotative dimensions or annotative annotations. We're purely looking at the annotate function, basically looking at installing leaders. So let's have a look at this. First of all, we're going to learn how to create a new multi-leader style. So we'll select multi-leader styles. As you can see, I've got a multi-leader style that I've used before, created before for a worksheet that I've produced. So we'll start off from the standard option, which produces a multi-leader that looks like this. So let's create a brand new one. We'll call it Worksheet X, and we want this to start off from the standard value rather than the additive or the worksheet 14, and we'll start from there. So let's create our new style. So going through the tabs within this window, again you can see we've got different options. So we can have our multi-leader, which is basically just the name for the arrow on a drawing. It can be straight, or it can be a spline, so a curved line, or you can have no leader. But we're going to keep it straight because that's the best way for producing technical drawings like this. There are different options we can use for our arrowhead. We'll keep it closed filled for the time being, and we can change our arrowhead size. So let's set that to say 2.5, and as you'll see in the preview window, that makes the arrowhead smaller. And I clicked the wrong button there, so let's just select that again and modify and go back in. So you can see there that's kept the changes that we made. Looking at the leader structure here, you can see one or two valuable things here. The set landing distance that currently is 8mm. Now if we change that to something a lot smaller, drop that down to 2, can you see it makes that section of the leader shorter. So if we change that back to 8, you'll see that get bigger. So that's what that does. If we change that to 5, yep, that's a pretty good distance for this type of drawing. Okay. Also we've got the content. Okay, we can change various things in here. Change the text style, the text angle. We want to keep it horizontal because we want to be able to read our drawings from just one position. We can change the colour. At the moment it's by block. You can change that to by layer or give it a specific colour if you want, but we'll keep it by block. The text height, we can set that to 2.5. Change that so it's a little bit smaller, which again is ideal for drawings on sort of A4 size. And you can change the justification or put it in a box if you want. Okay, personally I like to have it not in a box. Looking now here at this, the leader connection, you can change where it connects to the text. Horizontal attachment is the standard, the best way of doing that, so we'll leave that as the horizontal attachment. And you can change the gap here. If we change that again to something huge, change that to 10, what it does is it changes the distance between the end of the arrow and the text. So we'll change that back to 2mm as it was. That's a decent landing gap. So that's what we're looking at. So it's fairly simple and straightforward. Again, experiment with this and see what the different options do. We'll save that as Worksheet X, and then if we want to actually use it, we can set that as current. So we'll set that as current. That's the one we want to work with, so that's the one that we'll create. So if we now close this window down, you can see that Worksheet X is now ready to go. So when it comes to actually doing the dimension, the annotations on here, all we need to do is select this button, multi-leader. Okay, and let's say we want to give some information about this here. So if you imagine this is a block of metal with various holes going through it, and we want to add information about these different holes. So you can see here that it's automatically snapping to a tangent point on that circle. So if we now take this, we've got our angle there at 45 degrees, so that looks quite smart, and we'll pop that down there. You can see the text box is now open. So we want to point out that this hole that's passing through here is 8mm in diameter. Now the way that we do that is we start off with the diameter symbol. Now most keyboards won't have the diameter symbol ready to go, so we've got a couple of options here. We can right click, sorry, let's just install that again. So we'll put that back in, Okay, so we can right click here and then scroll down to symbol, and you can see here we've got the different options that we can use. So all of these are symbols that can be put in immediately. However, there are some special options that we can use. See here we've got diameter, plus, minus, and degrees. You notice how they've got these shortcut functions, the percent symbol twice followed by C for diameter. So we can either just select that and it'll drop the diameter symbol in there, or you can type in that shortcut. So if you go percentage C, lowercase c, it will create the diameter symbol, and once you remember what the different shortcuts are, this becomes an awful lot quicker. So it's quite a good way of doing it. So this hole is 8mm in diameter. But as well as being an 8 diameter hole through this block of metal, we're also interested in what's this here. Well, this is a countersunk hole, and therefore we want to show that this is a countersink and not a counter bore. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert here now the countersink symbol. So again, we go to symbol and we go to other, and that will bring up a lots of options here. Now if it doesn't automatically go to here to GDT, then that is the one that you want to select. Basically this just brings up all the different fonts that are available to you, and GDT is where we'll find a lot of our engineering symbols that we want to use. And if you look here, here's our countersink symbol. So we select that. You see here it's saying what characters do you want to copy, so I want to select that one, so it puts it in there. And then if you press copy and then close this window down, if you now hold down Control and V for paste, it inserts that in there. Now what you'll notice is that that dimension, that symbol is smaller than this one. Okay, so what we want to do is make that the same size. And what's happened is that it's just defaulted to the automatic setting for this symbol. So here we've got 2.5. You can see up here the size of the font is changing, and this, bear in mind, is just the height of the symbol. So this is 2.5mm high, and this is 1.875mm high. So if we change that to 2.5mm, either by dropping down and finding the values that have already been selected, we can do so, or you can just type it straight in there. So for example, I can make it huge, make that 4mm, which is clearly too big in this instance, so we'll change that back to 2.5 by typing that in. So that's our 2.5mm value. And now we want to put in the diameter symbol again. Okay, but you'll notice that the percentage symbol now looks a little bit different, and that is because we've inserted that symbol as GDT, and if you look up here, when I move the cursor about, you can see it's changing from Arial here to GDT here. So I want to go back to my Arial setting. Now again, just a tip, instead of scrolling up and down to try and find the correct font that you want to use, just type in Arial and it will take you to it. There we go, so there's our Arial setting. Back to 2.5mm, that's fine. And we want to know that countersink is 10mm in diameter, so diameter C, percent C gives us our diameter symbol, 10mm, and then we want to say it's 10mm by 90 degrees. Again, I don't have a degree symbol on my calculator, so if I right click and symbol, you can see it's there. So I could type in percent D, or just select it from there and it puts it in. Now this all looks a bit funny, the spacing, so let's space this out so it looks a little bit more user friendly. And once you click outside of the box, you've got your information in there intact. So other kind of tips for this, let's say if you want to dimension this one, if you want to add some information about this one, we'll put another leader in here. Okay, we'll put it up across on this side, like so. And what we'll say is that this hole, not actually entirely happy with where that's positioned, so if I just change that so it's at the top of there like that, it looks better. Okay, so this one's gone a bit weird, so let's just pop one in again. So the multi-leader comes off here and up to here, and we'll start putting in our information. So if we put in percentage C, it's a 6mm diameter hole, but this hole doesn't go all the way through, it only goes part of the way through. So we want to insert our symbol, so we'll right click and symbol, and then other, and then if we put in this symbol here, that will show us the depth that we want the hole to be. So we'll select that, we'll copy it, close that down, and then Control V, and it's put it in there. But again, it's made it a bit smaller than it was before, so let's change that to 2.5. That's made it nice and big again, and we're still on GDT, so we want to change that to Arial. There's our Arial option, and we want to point out that this is 8mm deep. Okay. Now that an interesting thing here, if you've got an eye for detail, which as a draftsperson really would hope that you do have, you'll notice that this space here, although we only hit the space bar once, is considerably bigger than that one there. And the reason for that is that this space was put in with the Arial font, and this space has been put in with the GDT font. So if we change this back to Arial again, Arial, there it is. Okay, and you can see that now it's made that gap the same size as that gap. Yep. For those of you who are interested, there is an interesting field of study called kerning, which is all about the placement and positioning of gaps between letters and numbers and how to make it look nice. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. Other symbols that we might want to include counter boring, so we might want to include a counter bore for this. It's just exactly the same procedure as we looked at before, but you would find the counter bore symbol and add it onto here. So that is a brief overview of how to install annotations and multi-leaders. More to follow in future videos. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, if you have any comments or queries or suggestions for future videos, then please let me know in the comments. Thank you very much. Goodbye.